Your soulmate has something they wish you knew. Watch this now because they truly love you. My beloved child, before your heart decides that today is just another ordinary moment, remain here for a little while, because there are truths that only reveal themselves when someone is willing to listen beyond the noise. There is a quiet connection moving toward you, carrying words that have waited far longer than you realize. What if the person your soul recognizes has been hoping, in silence, that one day you would understand what could never be spoken aloud? Not through pressure. Not through coincidence. But through the gentle timing that changes everything. Stay close, because what unfolds next may reshape the way you see every unanswered question that has followed you until this very moment. There are moments when two lives begin speaking long before two voices ever meet. It does not happen through perfect timing or dramatic entrances. It begins with invisible choices, with small changes inside the heart that nobody else notices. Somewhere, someone has been growing because of lessons they never expected to learn. They have carried hopes they could not explain, dreams they were almost afraid to believe, and through every chapter, one quiet thought continued returning. It was not a face they clearly remembered. It was not even a name. It was simply the feeling that somewhere, someone existed who would understand them in a way no one else ever had. Now imagine this for a moment. What if that feeling has never disappeared? What if it has become stronger with every passing season? The message waiting for you is not built on fantasy. It is built on transformation. Because genuine love is never only about finding another person. It begins when two separate stories slowly become ready to meet. One chapter at a time. One unexpected lesson after another. And perhaps, without realizing it, your own journey has been preparing someone else's heart as much as theirs has been preparing yours. Think carefully. Have you ever experienced an unexplained moment of peace after a difficult day? Have you ever smiled without fully understanding why? Have you ever felt that life was quietly rearranging itself even when nothing around you seemed different? Sometimes those moments are not empty at all. Sometimes they are reminders that growth is happening beneath the surface, where no eyes can see it. The future rarely announces itself with loud sounds. Instead, it whispers through patience, hope, and quiet confidence. Stay a little longer, because the next thought may answer a question you have carried for years. The one connected to your future wishes you understood something important. They do not hope you become someone else. They hope you never lose the kindness, resilience, and quiet strength that already make you unique. While many people chase appearances, they would treasure authenticity. While the world often rewards speed, they would admire your willingness to keep believing even after disappointment. That is the hidden message many people overlook. Real connection does not begin with perfection. It begins with recognition. Picture someone looking toward tomorrow with hope instead of fear because they believe meaningful things are still possible. That hope has become part of who they are. And without even knowing your story completely, they would want you to keep moving forward rather than allowing yesterday to define tomorrow. Isn't that remarkable? Sometimes the greatest encouragement comes from a future that has not fully arrived yet. Pause here for just 1 second. What if every challenge you survived became the exact reason someone would one day admire your heart? What if every delay protected something more meaningful than immediate answers? These questions are not here to create uncertainty. They are here to awaken perspective. Every meaningful destination begins with moments that seemed ordinary while they were happening. There is another truth they wish you knew. They would never want you to measure your worth by the number of people who noticed you. They would hope you remember that genuine value grows quietly, just like the strongest trees. Deep roots are formed where nobody is watching. Lasting confidence is built during seasons that receive no applause. The person connected to your future would recognize those unseen victories because they have been living through their own. Wait until the final moments of this journey, because another remarkable layer is still waiting to unfold. For now, hold this thought close to your heart. Somewhere beyond today's routine, beyond today's questions, and beyond today's expectations, a story is continuing to develop. Not through hurry. Not through pressure. But through wisdom, growth, and perfect timing. And perhaps the message your soulmate wishes you knew more than anything else is beautifully simple. Keep becoming the person you were always meant to be. When our paths finally cross, I don't want to meet the version of you that gave up. I want to meet the one who kept believing that something extraordinary was still possible. A quiet realization is beginning to rise, and this next truth may connect pieces you never thought belonged together. Don't rush past this moment. Some messages only make sense when the heart is ready to receive them. The story is becoming clearer now, and what comes next is something your soulmate has carried in silence for longer than you could imagine. If they could place just one letter in your hands today, it would not begin with an apology or a grand promise. It would begin with gratitude. Gratitude for every time you chose hope instead of bitterness. Gratitude for every moment you stood back up after life asked more from you than you thought you could give. Even if they have never spoken these words aloud, they would want you to know this: your quiet victories matter. They shape the future in ways you cannot yet measure. Have you noticed how some people enter a room and instantly change the atmosphere without saying much? It is not because of fame or perfection. It is because peace has become part of who they are. Your soulmate believes that same quiet strength is growing within you. They are not searching for someone who never struggled. They are waiting for someone who learned to keep moving with courage despite every obstacle. Stay with me, because the next thought could completely change the way you look at your own journey. Imagine your paths finally crossing. There is no dramatic race against time. No overwhelming chaos. Instead, there is an unexpected sense of familiarity, as though two stories have finally reached the page they were always meant to share. Conversations flow naturally. Silence feels comfortable instead of awkward. The connection is built on trust before excitement, understanding before expectation, and respect before anything else. That is the kind of love that lasts. Your soulmate wishes you knew that they are not hoping you become someone different before that day arrives. They hope you continue discovering who you truly are. Every skill you learn, every act of kindness you offer, every dream you continue pursuing becomes another thread woven into the person they will one day admire. Now ask yourself something. What if the delays you once questioned were quietly protecting the quality of the story ahead? What if every unexpected turn was preparing both of you to recognize each other at exactly the right moment? Sometimes life is not saying no. Sometimes it is simply building a stronger foundation than you can currently see. Before we continue, if this message speaks to your heart, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Someone reading your words may find the encouragement they needed today. And if you enjoy journeys filled with hope, purpose, and uplifting stories like this, subscribing simply means we'll continue exploring them together. There is one final thought before this chapter closes. Your soulmate would never want fear to become louder than your dreams. They would hope you wake up each morning believing that meaningful connections are worth preparing for, even before they arrive. They would remind you that every day offers another opportunity to grow into the person you are becoming. So don't measure today's progress only by visible results. Measure it by the strength you're building, the wisdom you're gaining, and the peace you're learning to carry. Those quiet changes are creating a future that is far more beautiful than it may appear from where you stand today. And this is only the beginning. Because in the next part, you'll discover the one hidden realization your soulmate has never been able to express out loud, a truth so simple, yet so powerful, that once you hear it, you'll never look at your own journey the same way again. Stay a little longer, the most meaningful revelation is still waiting ahead. A single unanswered question still remains, and if you've stayed with this journey until now, it may be because your heart has been searching for more than a story. It has been searching for understanding. So don't leave just yet. The final pieces are beginning to fall into place, and what your soulmate wishes you knew is deeper than words alone. Imagine standing at the edge of a brand new chapter. The past is behind you, not erased, but transformed into wisdom. Ahead of you is a future that no longer feels uncertain because you finally understand something that changes everything. Meaningful love is never about finding someone to complete you. It is about two whole hearts choosing to walk the same path with honesty, encouragement, and purpose. Your soulmate hopes you never doubt this truth. They would want you to know that your kindness has never been invisible. Your patience has never been wasted. Every time you chose compassion over resentment, growth over comfort, and hope over discouragement, you became the kind of person they have always hoped to meet. Even if no one applauded those quiet decisions, they mattered. Take a slow breath and think about this. What if the greatest gift you could give your future relationship is not perfection, but peace? A peaceful heart listens more carefully. A peaceful mind sees opportunities where fear only sees obstacles. A peaceful spirit creates room for trust to grow naturally. That is exactly what your soulmate longs for. They don't dream about a flawless future. They dream about real conversations. Shared laughter after long days. Small victories celebrated together. Encouraging each other when life becomes challenging. Looking back years later and realizing that the strongest memories were built from ordinary moments shared with extraordinary sincerity. Isn't that the kind of connection that lasts? Wait just a little longer, because there is one final message they would place in your heart if they could. They would say, "Please don't let temporary disappointments convince you that lasting happiness is out of reach. Keep believing in your dreams. Keep becoming the person who inspires others through kindness, integrity, and quiet confidence. I don't need a perfect version of you. I simply hope we meet when both of us have learned to appreciate what truly matters." Those words are simple, yet they carry incredible weight. Perhaps this entire journey has never been about predicting tomorrow. Perhaps it has always been about preparing your heart to welcome tomorrow with confidence instead of fear. Because when two people continue growing, learning, and choosing hope, every new day becomes another opportunity for meaningful connections to appear. Before this story comes to a close, remember one thing. The future is not written by anxiety. It is shaped by the choices you make today. Choose gratitude. Choose patience. Choose courage. Choose to keep believing that every season has a purpose, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. One day, you'll look back at this season and realize that the waiting was never empty. It was quietly preparing you for moments that could not have happened any other way. If this message brought peace or encouragement to your heart, consider sharing it with someone who may need a little hope today. And if you'd like to continue exploring uplifting stories filled with purpose, destiny, and inspiration, you're always welcome to join us on the next journey. Until then, keep moving forward with confidence. Because somewhere beyond today's horizon, another beautiful chapter is already beginning. And when the time is right, you'll recognize it not by surprise alone, but by the quiet certainty that your heart has been growing toward it all along. A new horizon is opening now, and before this journey comes to its final destination, there is one last message waiting to meet your heart. Don't hurry past these closing moments. Sometimes the quietest ending becomes the strongest beginning. What you are about to hear is not meant to predict your future, it is meant to prepare you for it. Your soulmate wishes you knew that love is not measured by dramatic moments alone. It is revealed in consistency. In choosing understanding when misunderstandings appear. In believing in each other's potential before the results can be seen. In celebrating small victories that the rest of the world overlooks. Think about that for a moment. The happiest stories are rarely built in a single unforgettable day. They are built through thousands of ordinary days where two people decide, again and again, to encourage one another instead of competing, to listen instead of assuming, and to grow instead of standing still. That is the future they quietly hope for. They are not waiting for a perfect life to begin loving deeply. They are becoming the kind of person who knows that genuine connection grows stronger through gratitude, honesty, patience, and mutual respect. And they hope you are becoming that person too. Perhaps that explains something you've been feeling lately. Why certain old habits no longer fit. Why your perspective has begun to change. Why your dreams seem clearer than they once were. Growth often feels unfamiliar before it feels comfortable. But every step forward is preparing you for conversations you haven't had yet, opportunities you haven't seen yet, and relationships that will value the person you are becoming. Not the person you used to be. Stay with this thought until the very end. Imagine the day your paths finally meet. There is no need to prove your worth. No need to wear a mask. No need to become someone else. Thank you for not giving up on the person you were becoming. Every lesson you embraced, every challenge you overcame, and every dream you protected has brought us one step closer to a future filled with meaning. Before we close this chapter, if these words have encouraged you, you're warmly invited to share your thoughts in the comments. Someone else reading them may find the hope they've been searching for. And if you enjoy uplifting journeys like this, stories filled with purpose, growth, and meaningful connections, you can subscribe and return whenever you need another reminder that brighter chapters are always possible. Now carry this final truth with you. The future does not belong to those who rush. It belongs to those who continue growing with faith in tomorrow, kindness in today, and gratitude for every lesson along the way. So keep your heart open. Keep your vision clear. Keep choosing hope over doubt. Because somewhere beyond what you can currently see, another page is already turning, and when the right moment arrives, you won't recognize it because everything suddenly changed. You'll recognize it because, deep inside, you changed first. Just one final reflection remains, and if you've walked this entire path until now, then perhaps you were never simply listening to a story. Perhaps your heart was searching for a reminder that the best chapters of life are still ahead. So stay with me until the very last words, because this closing message may become the one you remember long after this video ends. There is something your soulmate has always wished you would believe without hesitation. Not that everything will always be easy. Not that every plan will unfold exactly as expected. But that no meaningful season of growth is ever meaningless. Every challenge has quietly shaped your character. Every unexpected delay has taught you patience. Every unanswered question has strengthened your ability to keep moving even when certainty was nowhere to be found. Those moments did not take you away from your future, they prepared you for it. Imagine looking back years from now. You remember the days when you wondered if anyone would truly understand your heart. You remember the nights when you questioned whether your efforts would ever lead somewhere meaningful. And then one ordinary day, everything begins to make sense. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you finally see how every step was connected to the next. That realization changes everything. Your soulmate hopes you never underestimate the power of quiet progress. While the world celebrates loud achievements, they admire the invisible victories. The moments when you chose forgiveness instead of resentment. The moments when you believed in tomorrow even after difficult days. The moments when you continued becoming your authentic self instead of following someone else's expectations. Those are the moments that leave the deepest impression. Now pause for one final question. What if the greatest love story isn't the one that happens the fastest, but the one that helps two people become the very best versions of themselves? Think about that. Because lasting love is never built on excitement alone. It is built on trust that grows stronger over time. On conversations filled with honesty. On dreams shared without fear. On choosing to support each other through every new beginning. That is the kind of future your soulmate quietly hopes to create. And perhaps, that future begins today, not through a dramatic event, but through one simple decision. The decision to keep believing. To keep learning. To keep growing. To keep walking forward with confidence, knowing that every positive choice you make today becomes part of the life you are creating tomorrow. As this journey comes to its gentle conclusion, carry this final message with you wherever life leads next. Never lose the light that makes you who you are. The world may change around you, seasons may come and go, but a heart filled with kindness, courage, and hope will always find its way toward meaningful connections. Keep becoming that person. Because one day our paths will meet, and when they do, we'll both be grateful that neither of us stopped believing. And maybe that is the most beautiful truth of all. The story was never about waiting for someone else to change your life. It was about discovering that every day you choose hope, wisdom, gratitude, and purpose, you are already becoming part of the extraordinary future you have been preparing for all along. So walk into tomorrow with confidence. Smile a little more. Dream a little bigger. Believe a little deeper. Because your greatest chapter has never been behind you. It has been quietly waiting, just beyond the horizon. One last whisper remains, not to add another mystery, but to leave your heart with something lasting. If you've stayed until this moment, then perhaps this journey has already done what it was meant to do. It has reminded you that the most meaningful connections begin long before two people stand face to face. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine waking up one ordinary morning. The sun rises as it always has. The world looks familiar. Yet something inside you feels different. There is no rush. No uncertainty. Only a quiet confidence that you are exactly where you need to be. That is the kind of peace your soulmate hopes you discover before your paths ever cross. Because when peace lives within you, love no longer feels like something you must chase. It becomes something you are ready to receive. Think about how much you've already overcome. The moments that tested your patience. The seasons that strengthened your character. The dreams that refused to disappear, even when life became complicated. None of those experiences were empty. Each one added another layer of wisdom to your story. Each one quietly prepared your heart to recognize something genuine when it finally arrives. And perhaps that is the message your soulmate has wanted you to hear all along. Please don't rush your journey because of someone else's timeline. Your story is unique. Your pace has purpose. Keep becoming the person whose heart is guided by kindness, whose words bring encouragement, and whose future is shaped by hope rather than fear. Those words carry more power than they first appear. Because every sunrise offers another opportunity to become a little wiser. Every conversation offers another chance to spread kindness. Every challenge offers another invitation to grow stronger. The future isn't waiting for a perfect version of you. It is waiting for the authentic person you choose to become every single day. Now, before this final chapter comes to a close, remember something that is easy to forget in a busy world. The greatest moments often arrive quietly. A simple conversation. An unexpected smile. A new opportunity. A friendship that grows into something extraordinary. Life rarely announces its biggest blessings with loud signals. More often, they appear gently, inviting us to notice what has been there all along. Maybe that's why this message found you today. Not to promise impossible things. Not to answer every question. But to remind you that hope is never wasted, growth is never invisible, and kindness is never forgotten. As we reach the end of this journey, thank you for sharing these moments with us. If this story brought a little peace, encouragement, or inspiration into your day, carry that feeling with you and pass it on whenever you can. Sometimes a single hopeful word can brighten someone else's path more than we ever realize. And so, here's the final message your soulmate would leave in your heart. Wherever life takes us before we finally meet, promise me one thing. Keep believing in the good that still exists. Keep protecting your gentle heart. Keep smiling through the small victories. Because when our paths finally cross, I want the first thing I see in your eyes to be the hope you never allowed the world to take away. With that, this story gently comes to an end. But your journey does not. The next page of your life is still unwritten. Fill it with courage. Fill it with gratitude. Fill it with purpose. And no matter where tomorrow leads, never forget this simple truth. The brightest chapters are often the ones you never saw coming, until the moment they quietly became your reality. As the silence settles, there is one final echo that deserves to remain with you. Not because it predicts what tomorrow will bring, but because it reminds you that every meaningful journey leaves behind a truth worth carrying. Stay for these last moments. Sometimes the ending becomes the beginning you never expected. Imagine years from now, looking back at this season of your life. You won't remember every worry. You won't remember every unanswered question. But you will remember the person you decided to become. That choice will matter more than anything else. Your soulmate wishes you understood that love is not only found in the moment two people meet. It is found in every decision made before that meeting ever happens. Every act of kindness. Every lesson accepted with humility. Every dream protected when giving up seemed easier. Those unseen moments become the foundation of a relationship that is built to last. Perhaps you've wondered why certain doors closed. Perhaps you've questioned why some chapters ended sooner than expected. What if those endings were never taking something away? What if they were creating space for something that truly belongs in your life? Sometimes life whispers before it reveals. Sometimes it prepares before it provides. Sometimes it teaches before it rewards. And those who keep moving with hope are often the ones who recognize extraordinary opportunities when they finally appear. Carry this thought with you. The right connection will never ask you to stop becoming your authentic self. It will encourage your dreams, celebrate your growth, and remind you that your greatest strength has always been the kindness you choose to show, even when no one is watching. That is the kind of love your soulmate believes in. A love that inspires. A love that strengthens. A love that brings peace instead of confusion. If they could leave one final note resting quietly within your heart, it might say this. Thank you for continuing your journey, even during the seasons when progress felt invisible. Every step you took with courage brought us closer to the future we have yet to discover. Never regret becoming stronger. Never apologize for choosing hope. One day we'll look back and realize that every chapter had a purpose. Now let those words settle. Not as a promise of certainty, but as an invitation to keep living with purpose. Smile when you can. Encourage someone who needs it. Protect your dreams. Keep learning. Keep growing. And never underestimate how much light a hopeful heart can bring into the lives of others. This story reaches its final page, but your own story continues beyond this moment. May your days be filled with meaningful conversations. May your choices be guided by wisdom. May your heart remain open to new beginnings. And when life surprises you in beautiful ways, remember this journey, not because it claimed to know your future, but because it reminded you that the future is shaped by the hope, character, and courage you build today. Until our paths cross again in another story, walk forward with confidence. The next chapter isn't waiting for someone else to write it. It's already beginning. With you, before this journey quietly fades into the distance, allow yourself one final moment of stillness. Not to search for answers outside yourself, but to recognize the quiet strength that has been growing within you all along. Every story eventually reaches its closing page, yet the most meaningful endings are the ones that inspire a beautiful new beginning. If your soulmate could stand beside you for only a single minute, they would not spend that minute speaking about the past. They would not ask you to count the days that felt uncertain or remember the moments that didn't unfold as expected. Instead, they would gently smile and say, "Thank you for continuing to believe in goodness. Thank you for choosing hope when it would have been easier to become discouraged. Thank you for protecting the kindness that makes your heart so rare." Those simple words would carry more meaning than 1,000 promises. Because real connection is never built on perfect circumstances. It is built on two people who never stopped growing. Two people who learned that patience creates wisdom. Two people who discovered that gratitude makes ordinary days extraordinary. Two people who realized that the greatest gift they could offer each other was their authentic selves. Think about everything you've heard throughout this journey. Every message pointed toward the same quiet truth. Your future is not waiting for perfection. It is responding to the person you are becoming. Every kind decision. Every lesson embraced. Every dream you refused to abandon. Every moment you chose courage instead of fear. Those choices are writing a story far greater than you can see today. Now imagine one final scene. A peaceful afternoon. A gentle conversation. Two people laughing without pretending to be anyone else. No pressure to impress. No need to explain every chapter of the past. Just a quiet understanding that some connections feel meaningful because both hearts spent years preparing for the moment they finally met. Perhaps that is what your soulmate has wished you knew from the very beginning. Not to spend your life chasing signs, but to spend your life becoming someone who brings light wherever they go. Because people remember how they felt around someone whose heart was filled with kindness, humility, encouragement, and hope. That is a legacy worth building every single day. As this final chapter comes to an end, carry these words with you. Keep walking forward with confidence. Celebrate the small victories. Protect your peace. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue believing that every sunrise brings another opportunity to become the person you were always capable of being. Wherever our journeys lead, never lose the light that makes you uniquely you. And perhaps, that is the greatest message of all. The extraordinary future you have been hoping for does not begin on the day everything changes around you. It begins on the day something changes within you. So let today be that day. Walk into tomorrow with a grateful heart. Welcome each new opportunity with quiet confidence. Offer kindness without expecting anything in return. Believe in possibilities that cannot yet be seen. Because every meaningful chapter starts with one simple decision. To keep moving forward. Thank you for sharing this journey from beginning to end. If these words brought peace, encouragement, or hope into your heart, we'd love to hear what resonated with you most in the comments. And if stories like this inspire you to keep growing and believing in brighter tomorrows, you're always welcome to subscribe and return for the next journey. Until then, may your path be filled with wisdom. May your heart remain filled with hope. And may every new chapter remind you that the most beautiful stories are not the ones that happen overnight. They are the ones that quietly unfold, one meaningful step at a time.